What is going on, world? Thank you so much for joining us for Art of the Matter Live Season 1 finale. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe we have made it to this moment. 13 episodes, one season culminating this evening with our final episode. Again, I want to thank you guys so much for following us on the journey. I am your host, TDUB. Art of the Matter, of course, is the show by, for, and about artists that seeks to highlight the state of arts and culture from the artist's perspective. Man, it's been an incredible journey. And of course, we want to let you guys know now is the perfect time to like, comment, and share the show. Yes, even though this is the last episode, you can still watch the entire season at any time. So make sure you tap in, make sure you're watching them episodes and giving us that good feedback. Yeah, cool beans. So of course, we like to little catch the drip moment. I don't know if y'all can see my shirt. Satellites, fishers, and spaceships. Shouts out to Jarv D. Man, this week has been an incredible week for art. I actually went to Jarv D's show this Thursday. It was super dope. Some real Seattle-ish. I won't say the actual word, but yeah, shout out to Jarv D, man. Really killing the game. I'm so glad to see him back on stage. But yes, of course, caught that drip. Now let's get into a little bit of art news. Again, of course, this week for me, I don't know about y'all, but it's been crazy with the art. Wednesday, we went and saw Shaka Khan at Woodland Park Zoo. Thursday, of course, was the Jarv D show. Friday was the opening of EXO Seattle with Vivid Matter Collective showing our art. Shouts out to VMC, man. Folks really showed up and showed out for this event, man. It was crazy. Again, 7 floors of art at the Rail Spur building this weekend. It was absolutely incredible. Of course, Seattle Art Fair was happening as well. So the streets was real busy. Capitol Hill Block Party, like I'm sure Basil will tell you all about that. But yeah, it's been a really incredible week for art. And I was here for it all. Yes. So this show is actually going to be jam-packed. It's an incredible show. Our episode is actually probably the longest episode that we've had thus far, and you will see why in just a moment. But after we come back from this break, I get to tap in with my sis, Ramona Lee, artist, art agent extraordinaire. She's going to tell us all about what she's got going on in the world of art. We're going to take a quick little break. Again, you're watching Art of the Matter.
Hey there, it's Trey Holiday. And of course, Besa and I had to take a trip back to Market Street Shoes to grab some items. They always know what to show us. And let me tell you, we both spent quality time to be sure we collected some amazing additions to our wardrobes. They have some of the most unique bags, shoes, and accessories. I mean, the whole shebang. It's always a good time when I get to shop with my girl Besa. Make sure you go check out Market Street Shoes, y'all, and you too can walk out with some dope gear.
The truth with proof, the truth with proof. If you nice with the sports, then he swooping through. He gon' highlight you. Ain't nobody live like us, fly like us. We gon' find you, put the city behind you. Let us know you got skills, we gon' be at a game. In the Northwest, we reppin' the city where it rain.
Shout out to True for Proof every Tuesday night right here on Converge Media. That's the bro. Yes, of course. Let's get into our first guest. Man, I'm so excited to tap in with none other than Miss Ramona Lee. How you doing, sis?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. This is so like blessings on blessings on blessings. This whole week has been crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again so much for being here. Yeah. We actually met in a pretty cool way actually at On the Block.
Yes,
I was able to tap in with you and you were telling me about all the really super cool stuff you're doing on the art scene here in Seattle. Can you tell us a little bit about your artistic journey and how you came to get to where you are?
Yes, I can. So artistically, I am an acrylic painter.
Nice.
I thought we had to paint to be considered artists.
Right.
I am finding that I'm more about illustration and concept art. And I love to use digital art at this time.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I wanted my journey here in Seattle was working 9 to 5s. over 40 hours a week. So I
Mhm.
mainly just wanted to get back to what I do, and that's be an artist. The only way I thought I could do that was I sought out homies that had art galleries. It's
Yeah.
kind of a big thing. Everyone's kind of getting spaces and putting themselves in it. I
Mhm.
wanted to take my leadership skills in retail
Right.
and put it to art and see how well I could push others' art out the door.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to push your own. So
It's true.
yeah.
And I love that. I love that. And I resonate with that too, because I definitely come from a retail background. Like as soon as I had jobs, I was working retail. I was at Macy's and Nordstrom's Rack and, working the floor and making these companies a bunch of money,
bunch of money,
and all that,
yes.
barely scraping by. So being able to transfer those skills onto, what you got going on with art is definitely super, super dope. And I know that you have a few things that you're doing, currently at the moment. And we have the title of art agent that we put on you. So what does that mean exactly?
All right. So where it all started for me was City of Light Gallery. I had my first show with Paul Cole. It was called Swan Dive. And that's where I sold my first piece of artwork. It was, how much is it? Yeah, I'm going to say the price. It was $2,700. And I'm very happy with that price. I'm happy that it went out the door. It went out with a telecommunicator. Sorry. Yeah. And she was actually moving to Africa.
Wow.
And why do I want to say telemarketer? Either way, telecommunicator. She started her own business and she thought that this would be a great piece for her new office in Africa. The piece is called The Beginning. And Paul Cole is an abstractionist, a mastered abstractionist. And it was crazy being in studio with him before the show. He helped me so much by just letting me be a part of priming and prepping everything beforehand and like giving trust to me with his work. Like, you want me to paint on your picture, like
right.
just the size, like that was crazy. So and then shout out to Jewel Wesley. He's the curator director there at City of Light Gallery. Okay. He put me on the floor. He gave me my stage, so wow. I will always remember that one. Super cool. And through that, I worked with another great artist, Kelly Lucas, who I've never got to meet, but I love her work, and I was able to sell my crown is contentment. And that was a very big night for me. Not only was it my birthday, wow, my 29th birthday, and 29 is a big year for everybody, right? But it was also the night that the people who had bought the piece, My Crown is Contentment, put me on to a program called Venture. It's nonprofit, and that's a business course, and it goes a long ways, and you get a huge network. So it was a prompt for me to start really taking myself seriously, not just being an assistant at a gallery, like just third party, but like also make this for myself and be anywhere. So I was able to actually take the course. It's free, or it's like sliding scale, depending on your how much you make, your income. Sorry, right. I'm nervous. But like it's just like there's so many opportunities that come out from just like sticking true to your path. And I just when I went up to Wesley, got what I wanted, got my stage.
Okay, come on.
I got Kelly Lucas. I sold a piece. She had 92 works. They were masterful. I don't know how many out. Like she did it in a short span of time. She just wanted to get them all out. Yeah. And then Raya Wu, just this year, she also had Lucid Dreams and Soundscapes. We were able to get 2 of her pieces out the door. In all, I helped City of Light Gallery pull in, at least if I'm correct, like about $9,000 worth of art sales. Man. So I'm pretty, I can do this.
Yes, not too shabby.
Just that first show though, let me know that this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm never turning back. And how can I keep doing that? So when things slowed down, when I didn't have artists to represent, I started creating a team for an artist forum, and it's called Artist Access, because when we don't have resources, we don't create, I feel like, or if we are lacking we don't create consistently.
It's true. It's true.
Yes.
Yeah. And we were having a conversation about that before the show started, of just like the need for resource, and there's a lot of situations going on in the country, around the world right now, where things are getting allocated, things are getting shifted, things are getting moved around. And most of the time, the arts, the music is the first thing to go. It's like the lowest hanging fruit. If the government's feeling like their pockets getting a little tight, they're going to cut those resources immediately, and we feel that,
Yes.
especially here in Seattle. This is a huge art city. It's a huge arts culture and community here. And so when those resources get cut, you see it on the streets, you see it with the people, and you see it with the art. And that's really cool that you are putting yourself in a position to fix that. And I want to go back to, your time with City of Light Gallery.
Yeah.
You were an artist first, and then you became an arts assistant with the gallery, and then you started selling art. So how do you get into that?
I'm going to jump around again because
Yeah.
actually I had my first show at the Tashiro Artist Lofts, and I met Rashana Carol Williams there. She gave me my first art show.
Wow.
And that was around my birthday too. Funny enough, when I met you on the block, I was also speaking to the other Carol at Blue Cone Studios, right?
Yeah, shout out to Carol. Yeah, man.
So I'm just going to shout out all the opportunities I have. So
Yes.
this next opportunity is a kids craft and karaoke.
Right.
And it's for parents and kids. No parents, you can't drop your kids off. You have to go as well. And they're, the first theme is self-portraits, and then we're going to start with Disney songs or whatever. But you can really go off anywhere. It's karaoke. But it's just have fun with the children in the city.
Yeah.
Right? So Carol from Blue Cone hooks me up with Nas, the coordinator, right?
Okay.
So Nas is like, hey, come to this barbecue at Rashana Williams' house. Rashana Carol Williams, whatever's happening there. And she is the director of the BIPOC Stack House, the sustainable tiny art houses.
Yeah.
And I was at that barbecue. I sealed a contract to become the programs manager there.
Wow.
And now I oversee artists and workshops, and I go and survey all around Seattle. Did I ever answer that question? I don't care. Like I go and I survey all around Seattle, and it's so uplifting because you get to like see artists on the street and actually give them a chance, and be like, hey, you want to host a workshop? Take this survey, say what you do. Let's try and get you on the calendar. This is a paid gig.
Yeah.
Thank you, Seattle Cultural Arts.
That's really cool.
And all these grants that are going around that people think that are so hard to obtain, but also that's sustainable tiny art house can teach you how to even write grants. There's going to be people in there and artists of like array of mediums, and from literature to lifestyle and yoga to I don't think any sculpture yet, but weaving, painting, all kinds of things that can just happen right there. I myself will have a workshop. It's called Your Art Will Sell.
All right,
and
man.
I will teach you all how to sell your art.
Man, that is so important.
There's a lot going on.
You got a lot going on, man. Definitely. You're putting yourself in some positions to really make some things happen. So that's super cool. And definitely got to give a shout out to Carolyn Hitt and Carol Rashana Williams. Super, super dope fixtures in the art world. And again, like you just kind of explained, like the people who brought you in are kind of guiding you in these ways, and then you're bringing people in as well. So that's really, really cool that you're doing that.
Yes.
And you talked about the Blue Cone event that's coming up, the karaoke with the kids. So parents, if you got kids and you want to get out of the house and do something creative, definitely hit up Ramona at Blue Cone Studios as going down. So that's super, super awesome. And then I also know that I noticed here from your notes that you did the Harriet T Foundation with Blue Cone as well. You're a part of that?
So right now, that's who pays me. I haven't got to actually go into the Harriet Tubman Foundation for Safe Passage, but it just says it in the title there. There's a safe space for me that's going to assist me along in my journey. I'm just reaching out in this community. It was really hard for me. I've been here for 10 years, and I finally decided I'm going to be in the art community. That's why it was so important for me to reach out to all kinds of people. Let's shout out to Malcolm. You know, I've had conversations with him, man. Like, hey, he had opportunities too. You know, people want to jump on other people's opportunities, and you have to actually be discerning in things. There's people who have to stiff arm you and be like, no, this is mine. And I had to learn from that, and and just keep searching, still put myself out there and network.
Yeah.
I just wanted how much time do I have? Because
keep going.
Because there's another opportunity that I had. So with that ventures business, like I'm on the verge. I really want to secure a building here in Seattle, and I know that's not going to happen overnight. So what can we do? I can secure a storage space and a van, and I can art handle, and I can get insurance and hold your art. So just keep me in mind, any artists out there. I'm here for you, and in the future I will become something very valuable to your work and to your legacy, especially when people are need authentication of like whose artwork this is. Like, you don't know how important it is when someone handles your art.
Talk.
It's pretty great. And with this this whole ventures thing, I made a survey, and then I created an art team, and we had an artist access forum. And I had 5 awesome people on that forum. Janet at Grocery Studios, thank you so much for the opportunity and being my IT person.
Shout out.
And what else? Just making sure there was like a whole bunch of chairs. There was an Eventbrite. Shout out to DC in the house. Shout out to Perla for the photo booth. Shout out to Fallon for the song. Love the song. Alexander El Holy, man. All those people. He's a photographer.
Yeah.
He already knew what he was doing. There's just like a whole community out here.
So much.
And I just hope to have. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. It's great. It's great to see and hear. People are really, really tapped in, and like you said, you had a need as an artist. You have needs. You have needs for authentication. You have needs for representation. You have needs for an agent. You have need for gallery. You have need for space. You made yourself all of those things. You know what I mean? So the wealth of knowledge that you are building it's incredibly valuable, and like eliminating the barrier of entry, going to the people on the streets with the survey, being like, hey, I see you're doing poetry or you're writing letters or something like that. We have this program. All you have to do is take this survey, and then we can get you resources and support. So that is what needs to happen. And you are doing that. So thank you so much for that. Real talk.
Thank you.
You talked about the need for space and how important that is. What other sort of resources are you looking for with the things that you have going on in your business?
Okay, so like I said, I could start with a storage space and a van. Those are obvious, but I would love a building, like any buildings out there that are empty, that you want to showcase. I want to create a space where production is always happening. My goal in Seattle is to produce the most art. And to do that, I know that I can't do it myself. I want all of you to produce your art. Where are we? I'm over there too. Okay. But I just think that we can all do it together, and just those developers and people who are just sitting on these big buildings, these big spaces, like you can open it up. I have a whole plan, a whole agenda. I've been successful in coordinating people and managing people throughout my whole career, and just as a human being on this planet, or adult life, whatever. But it's just so important to create leaders in the creative world.
Absolutely.
And like I was telling you and your mom, hi, that it's just it's super important to not only have leadership, but have jobs, that accessible. Like I'm not educated in the arts. Like I did international bachelorette program where I knew history of art, studio art. I was like a champion writer, whatever, in high school, but it didn't get me the art jobs that I wanted. So if I can create a space in a club specifically for artists, and then bring people in to like manage them, teach them how to do inventories, to art handle, to framework, to sculpt, to do workshops on like how to use the bandsaw or whatever. Like it's all so important. Like
it's so important.
And we can just create avenues for everyone.
There you have it.
I'm so eclectic, but I think it's important. It's like my purpose.
Absolutely.
I'm here.
So, I love that. The business of art, it's the other half of it, right? You can make art, but there's also so many things that are necessary in order for that art to get to where it needs to be. So thank you for putting yourself in that position, taking on the helm of that thing. So yeah, if you want to just look in this camera, let people know where they can find you.
Okay, well, on the social web, you can definitely find me at Differ Media TV. That's on YouTube. Again, Differ Media TV. Instagram handle is differ.mtv. Agent.
Mhm.
Also, if you want to see my amazing life, you can also see me at Mona Lisa, MONALE3SA.
All right now.
Yeah, and that's where you can find me. I don't have a website right now, but I'll just like, you can just find me there. That'd be great. We'll
Good
just
deal.
start there. I like to just give my business card out rather than
The in
give
person.
in
I like
person.
that. I like that.
Yeah,
Good deal.
more genuine. So,
Yes. Art agent Ramona Lee, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you tap in with her. We're going to take a quick break. And then after we come back, we got featured artist season finale. Momma TDUB, Schelia Ward is in the building. We're going to tap in with my mama and watch her episode. Yes, you're watching Art of the Matter.
Hey guys, Besa Gordon here, and before heading to Belize, Trey Holiday and I had to make sure we linked up with our good friends over at Market Street Shoes to, of course, grab a few things for the trip. From bags to socks, shoes, sunglasses, earrings, and more. Before going on any trip, make sure you stop at Market Street Shoes. Trust me, you'll find just what you need to make your trip not only enjoyable, but fashionable.
The truth with proof, the truth with proof. If you nice with the sports, then he swooping through. He gon' highlight you, and nobody live like us, fly like us. We gon' find you, put the city behind you. Let us know you got skills, we gon' be at every game. In the Northwest, we reppin' the city where it rain.
We are back, folks. Art of the Matter season 1 finale. Episode 13 is coming in just a moment. But before we get to that featured episode, we're going to tap in with our featured artist, my mom, Momma TDUB. How you doing, Mom?
Hello, Converge. Hello, Converge fans and friends and family.
All right. I love that intro. Yes. If you guys don't know, my mom is a huge supporter. Even before I think I knew about Converge, you was on the Converge train from the beginning.
Yep.
Definitely a part of that $5 family, so she is super great to have you here, and see in the studio, being on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great. But yeah, so episode 13, season finale, Art of the Matter. You are the featured artist. And, I told you when we filmed that it was important for me that you be the period on this season, because without you, I wouldn't be here, and it's like, the art, the creativity, the dancing, the music, the everything, it comes from you, So I just wanted to make sure that, when we get down to the art of the matter, we are getting down to the art of the matter. And for me, this is why. This is the reason why I do what I do. So I definitely had to make sure that, you got your flowers.
Thank you so much. And I'm so glad that you're good at it. I'd be so embarrassed if you were. Tell the truth.
And she
Shame
would tell
the
me,
devil.
Okay, she would tell you too. She ain't never been one to mince no words. So it's we doing some real things around here. But this episode is subtitled "The Art of Memory." I subtitle all the episodes, and the reason why I wanted to subtitle yours "The Art of Memory" is because I'm super fascinated by how much people in my family remember, and and sort of understanding and exploring that idea of memory and thinking about Black people in general, and how much has been taken from us, that our memory becomes our life source, because that is what connects us to before.
Right.
I think about the people that came over on the ships and how they had to remember their recipes and their culture and their language in order to survive, slavery, and the fact that our family has roots in that way. And it's just incredible to me that is like the idea of memory is sort of like a cultural thing for us. So I don't know, like, Do you think, and we talked about this, of course, but can you kind of describe or tell us how you feel about what memory does for like us and for our family?
Remembering, because you have to remember the things in the past, and some of them because you don't want to repeat them.
Right.
And the word in Black culture is the griot. The griot was the person that knew the history of the village or the communities, all the family members in the community. And so that's basically how we pass down history outside of, you know, the pyramids and the rock carvings and the art that was able to be salvaged or that was able to survive.
Right.
The transitions in culture and the transitions of, you know, people movement, because we move.
Yeah.
But remembering the past is just, it kind of came naturally with me, and I absolutely wanted to remember, you know, the past and family members. And my father, Raymond Ward, he was really into photography.
Yeah.
He had several cameras, and everybody in the family took a lot of pictures. We took a lot of photos, and then videos came out, and of course we took videos too. But those are ways that you can, you know, set memories in you know, in history, then you can pass them on and show your kids and show your grandkids. So yeah, it was very important for me to remember a lot of the things from, you know, the neighborhood. And the neighborhood has changed so much now that, you know, we hope that, you know, the newspapers and the media will keep a history, but we the people that lived in the community need to keep the history too, and we have some persons in the community that can pass that history down.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And even in doing research for this episode and trying to find, you know, was helping, shout out to Brady, you know, my editor, my guy. Appreciate you always for all the work that you've done on this season. But, you know, I help him kind of with the B-roll, and I was looking up images, and like, so my grandfather, your dad, was recruited by Boeing, and we'll get into that story in the episode. But I was looking for, I just typed in Google like Black engineers at Boeing. Nothing came up. So that's another reason why it's so important for us to hold our own history and remember our own history, because a lot of the times it does not get recorded. It does not get archived. So that's why it's particularly important for us. So I was super, super like thankful that we were able to do this with you and, you know, get into your story, get into your history, and and into your journey and what's coming next. So
and Boeing needs to be somebody, we need to check Boeing about that, because they highly recruited in the 60s. They highly recruited from HBCUs in the 60s, and they should do some sort of homage to them. You know,
they absolutely should.
They need their story too, you know, told to, and you should be able to Google it, or you should be able to go to the Boeing website and see
at least
all
one
the Black engineers. There was a lot of Black they recruited. Come on
now. Boeing, if there's anybody from Boeing or Boeing adjacent watching this episode, you know what to do. But so we're about to get into this episode. It's a long one, so we got to make sure we, you know, keep the time tight. But you had any last words before we watch?
Well, I hope you guys enjoy. I enjoyed making it. And I enjoyed Art of the Matter the whole season.
Yeah, man.
And it's worth watching. Whatever episodes you missed, just watch it again.
All right now.
Yeah, and I hope everybody enjoys this episode.
Yes, I absolutely believe they will. And on that note, let's get into it. Episode 13, season 1 finale of Art of the Matter.
That was Sally's beauty salon. Her and the hat man, the Black man that made hats, they lasted the longest on 34th. They were one of the last two businesses to close. Right. This was a corner, a little corner store. Yeah, this Black people on both sides of the street. I can't remember everybody's, but yeah, just Miss Glover, because she was always fussing at me all the time.
first and foremost, we are here, this space, very important, very special space. It's my space, it's our space, it's family space. The Resole 206, this is the site for what will be Seattle's very first dry cleaner for sneakers, created by me. So we're here holding down the fort, and we are here for our finale episode of Art of the Matter. And we have a very special guest with us for this one, going out with a bang with Momma TDUB, Miss Schelia Ward. We are here with my mom because she is a creative, and she has found amazing ways to maintain her creativity through every chapter of her life. And so that's why she's being featured. So this episode, of course, is called The Art of Memory. And the reason why I wanted to do The Art of Memory with you is because I was telling you before, I'm just incredibly fascinated by how much people in our family remember, how much you remember of your childhood and who lived on what block and who lived in what house and what their parents did. And it's like, it's in us, you know, so definitely wanted to highlight that. So how did our family come to Seattle, Washington?
My mother was Mary Lee Foster, and my father was Raymond Ward. Married in Louisiana. They met at the Army base. Daddy, Raymond, was stationed at the Army base in Louisiana, and that's how he and my mom met.
Right.
Got married, had a child. He completed college engineering at Prairie View A&M
Yep.
in Texas. And then at that time, Boeing, the Boeing company, was highly recruiting from Prairie View A&M because they turned out the best engineers in the nation at that time in the 60s.
Right.
They were the top engineers in the nation. So Boeing recruited my father and a few other people out of Prairie View A&M, and they moved up here.
Yeah.
And they moved up here in 1963.
Right.
My father was at Boeing. My mother worked for the city of Seattle at that time.
Oh.
Then once they got the home, she decided to open a daycare.
Right.
And 2 years into living at 29th and Yesler, the marriage fell apart. My mother was a little bit too independent for my father.
Right, right.
So they divorced, and then at the end of the divorce, my mom ended up selling that home, and we moved on 37th and Olive. At that time, I was about 6 years old. I was attending Leschi Elementary School.
Come on, Leschi.
My sister was attending Meany.
Wow.
And we were just living our best life. My mother at that time of course, didn't have the daycare anymore. She had opened a cafe on 34th and Union called Mary's Dollhouse Cafe.
Right, right.
And on both sides of the street was black businesses on both sides of the street. Next to her was Mr. Dawson's barbershop. Next to Mr. Dawson was a store called IGA. Yeah.
Yep. So the neighborhood was alive.
Alive. It was a village. To me, growing up, it was mixed to me, but it was very black.
Right.
Yeah, but it was mixed. I played with Asian kids. that was Sally's Beauty. We started that individuality thing started.
Okay.
That for us, by us, each one teach one started to go away. That's where all the ghettos come from everywhere that you see in the United States. That's where they were created.
Wow.
Because some of us were able to break through, but most of us were not.
Boom.
And there was those that broke through didn't reach back. So
Right.
they stopped reaching back. You know, once you made it, you're supposed to reach back and grab somebody.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And that stopped. That stopped in the 70s.
I want to take it back just a tiny bit and kind of hear from you, like in what ways were you finding creativity as a kid in the CD?
We were all into music. Everybody was into music. None of my friends that in the neighborhood did not have a record player.
Right.
So everybody had a record player. Most people had two in their house.
Wow.
Because the kids had one, and then the adults, there was the big long record
The
players.
kids didn't touch.
That, yeah, in the living room that we wasn't supposed to touch. We touched, but we wasn't supposed to touch. And I would go over to their house and we would just sing. We would put on songs and just sing all the time. Sing whatever. Yep. Natalie Cole and,
Yeah.
I mean, real singers.
Right.
Yeah.
Singers.
Singers is what we call them now. Yeah. And so that's when I started singing, was at about junior high school. Yeah.
Did you know you had a knack for singing, or did it just kind of come out?
No, I would sing at my mom's house. So
Yeah.
I said music and dancing I would sing at my mom's house when I was very young. I was singing Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
And Shaka Khan and Patti LaBelle and Nina Simone and my mom, Etta James, and
Right.
whatever, because music was always in our house every weekend. Every weekend, the music was playing, somebody was barbecuing or cooking,
Right.
and all the family we were at somebody's house. If it wasn't my mother's house, it was one of my aunties or uncle's house, we were somewhere. And music and food was always the center.
Right.
Yeah, that was how our family showed love, was through music and food. At that time, a gentleman, light-skinned brother, big afro, his name was Wesley. He was, I can't remember his last name, he was the director of Black Arts West, and they put on plays all the time.
Right.
And so I spent a lot of time in there, watching them rehearse, watching them set up the stage, them do the lighting, and I would go in the back, the director's booth. They had a director's booth. I'd go in there and sit in the director's booth and watch them,
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time, and so that eventually I ended up being in a couple of plays.
Right.
It was always something for us to do. I could be anywhere. I could be in any park. There were several parks to play at, several community centers, several programs for us to, go to.
Right.
We were never bored.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember using that word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah.
Childhood seems pretty cracking,
It
the
was
CD.
wonderful.
It's good
Yeah.
times. And then I know, later on down the line, when it was time for you to go to high school, you got bused.
Yes.
And I know that changed a lot for you
That
too.
changed a lot. So the biggest change for me was after my mother passed.
Yeah.
So my mother passed when I was 11. So I left the Central area, my home, my village where I knew everybody, and I moved to Kent. So this was 1978. Yeah, my first day on the bus, I had several people call me the N-word. Okay, and so that was my introduction to Kent, Washington,
Right.
in 1978. Just extreme racism out there. It's nothing like it is now. It was
Right.
back then. It was nothing like it is now.
Right. I remember there was a picture of you and you were dancing
and then there was a crowd of people around you. Some of the faces were scratched out.
Yeah.
Where was that?
That was at Meeker Junior High School.
Okay.
And that was at one of the after-school dances. You know how they do the Friday night after-school dances? And I decided to go to see if I could kind of break the ice with some of the kids and, you know, stop being bullied by them and stop being so hated by them.
Right.
What, did I do something? Did I say something? But, you know, once you get older, you realize it's just racism and prejudice, and that's passed down.
Yeah.
But that's really what it was. There was nothing I could do to change their attitude. There was nothing I could do, but I said, well, let me go try to hang out with them and see if I could, you know. And so I went to the after school party one Friday night, and they must have put on Michael Jackson, because I was spinning.
Yeah.
So what you saw, I was spinning and I had stopped spinning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you seen the faces, they were like, so once they figured out I could dance real good, then they hated me more.
Even more.
So I
Jesus.
couldn't win. I just couldn't win in Kent. So when I turned 16, I exited. Yeah, so I 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th grade, I was in Kent. And then my junior and senior year, I was at Nathan Hale.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What did creativity look like for you in high school? 'Cause I know Nathan Hale had a pretty good radio station in there, didn't they? They had the radio station?
They had the radio station, the KNAC,
Yep.
and I hung out there. I didn't take the class, but I was there almost every day, 5th period. I was supposed to be in U.S. history,
Right.
but I was in the radio
said,
station
"Bump that."
making tapes.
Yeah.
And hanging out at the radio station. I took a lot of art classes at Meeker. That was my release, you know, from all the
Yeah.
chatter, the stuff that was going on around me.
Right.
So I really got into art at Meeker. I took watercolor paint and ink and quill. They had an ink and quill where you could, you know, dipped it in the ink and quill. They had a class, calligraphy.
Yeah.
They had all of that out there at that time when I was there. So I became very artistic in Kent to block out I just dove into art there.
The creativity is clearly being fostered in so many ways. You know what I
Right.
mean, there's so many avenues, whether it be in the neighborhood, just random people allowing kids to create in their, you know, homes,
Right.
or Black Arts West actually having actual programs for kids to attend.
They had programming,
You know, the
yes.
schools had a multitude of art forms for, you know,
Yes.
people to participate in. You know, and it's clearly fostering, you know, that creativity.
Right,
You know?
yeah.
And then you get out of high school, and then what happens?
I went to Seattle Central Community College for garment construction, because
Okay.
I thought I was going to be a fashion designer. That was my first, you know, because I love to sew and I love to draw.
Right.
And I would see stuff and like, this need to go like this, and then this need to go. So I would go draw it, and then I
Yeah.
would try to make it.
Right.
And so I took garment construction, and then I really wasn't feeling garment construction once I got there. I said, I'm really not feeling this. And then I talked to one of the counselors. He said, well, I'm trying to start a paralegal program. If I can get 30 students to sign up. I'm like, oh, I like legal stuff, you know. And so I signed up for it. He got 30 people to sign up for it. And we were in the course, I think, for 2 quarters, and then they canceled it.
No way.
And I really liked it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, I want to finish. I don't want to, you know, because I quit garment construction,
Right.
you know, and I don't want to quit. I really want to do this. And so I did some research, and come to find out Highline College had a paralegal program, an accredited paralegal program, and that's very important. And then I took the paralegal program. I had kids right after I left RTC.
Okay,
So after I
okay.
did the data entry program,
Right.
I started partying hardy.
Yep.
Yep. So
And then I was born.
And then Takia came. Then Takia was here. Met your dad at Fort Lewis, and yeah, we liked each other a lot until we didn't like each other anymore. You know how that goes.
Yep.
He moved back to Miami. I stayed here and had your brother, and then well, I think Bakari was what, 3 when I started at Highline.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 or 4 years old.
Yep.
Yeah, but you know, before I started at Highline, you know, my creativity came out again because remember I had the braid shop on Madison.
Yes.
So I had to learn how to do my own hair because, you know, I lost my mother. And when I moved with Dad, he attempted to do my hair, and I looked in the mirror and was like, oh, hell to the no.
I have very fond memories of the shop.
The shop,
I remember
yeah.
I was the model, so
Yeah.
when I was a kid, my hair was always done.
Always done,
Always
yeah.
done. I remember all the little Polaroids of me posing.
Yeah.
My earliest memories of childhood, and what I really think, besides the fact that you were also creative, and so a lot of that stuff got passed down, but what I really think put it in my mind of like wanting to do art was you drew a picture of Prince, and then you drew a picture of me.
Yeah.
And I can see those drawings as clear as day.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, like, Mom is really good at this stuff. You know, she's really good. Like, I remember when you you just like sketched a picture of me, you showed it to me, I was like, that's me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so for that sparked something in me when I was a kid. And I'm pretty sure that it definitely had like a huge impact on me wanting to be an artist. With putting the creativity to the side temporarily or however, you know, and then going into the world of like what I call pushing papers.
Pushing paper. I'm a paper pusher.
A lot of paper pushing.
Yeah.
You're in the corporate legal world.
Yeah.
And I happen to know that was a very particularly difficult time with having to deal with those structures and those personalities. And I know that you, like many Black women, have had very difficult times existing in that space. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Kent hardened me.
Yeah.
You know, and what the lesson was for me in that experience that I went through in Kent as a preteen and teenager was that it never was me. It was always them. So they were miserable in their own life. And so once I got to the corporate world and that I started getting those daggers again, you know, you feel them, they feel exactly the same.
Right.
It's the same kind of pain.
Yep.
And so I recognized it. So, and I looked at the person, so this person doesn't know me, hasn't even attempted to try to get to know me. All they know is that they believe I don't deserve to be in that space. When they would throw daggers, I said, well, I'm gonna give them a couple of chances, especially if it was a female. But then I started taking on the attitude of our state, which is our Washington State is a 3 strikes you're out state.
Right.
So then I just got the attitude, I'm gonna give people 3 chances. And that 3rd time, I'm gonna let their ass have it.
One of the things that I also remember, you know, of you in the corporate and the legal sphere is the sort of idea, and I know this happens to a lot of Black women too, of training your replacements.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I never did that.
Yeah.
So I got fired from 2 different jobs because they asked me to train my replacement, and I told them to kiss my ass. I watched a Black woman that I really respected train her replacement, you know, and I saw the saw the humiliation and the hurt that she had put in all those years for this company.
Right.
And she, you know, I watched her train her replacement, and then as soon as the lady said that I got it, I can do everything on my own, they let this Black woman go. You know, they let her go.
There's white counterparts who are completely unqualified who stay there until they're ready to retire.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I can't do. All of my supervisors must be smarter than me. If I figure out you're not smarter than me, you got a problem. So all of my that's a way to get rid of me quick.
Right.
Because I'm not gonna work, I'm not gonna do my job and your job. Because if I'm smarter than you, that means you're gonna require me to do your stuff too.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Yeah. And I'm not doing that either.
Yeah.
So,
real talk. That brings me to the point of Black women in corporate and legal and construction America.
Yeah.
Who do everybody's job. Who should be running the companies that they actually work for.
Exactly.
You know, but they are not able to fully realize how integral they are to the success of the businesses that they support.
Exactly.
You know?
Not. And furthermore, if I could just bleed on them.
Yeah.
leave those stupid people and start your own.
Yeah.
If I could just believe that, that is my prayer.
Yeah.
For there's so many gifted women on jobs that they're serving these creep supervisors in these creep corporations. And a lot of us know the names of big corporations, and they're just sucking all of their intellectual property.
Yeah.
They're not paying them for it.
Right.
They got hired in a position. Everybody's laughing at you because the position you took used to be 3 positions.
Right.
That's how they do us.
Right. I credit you for teaching us, you know, throughout our childhood, the importance of our intellectual property and our ideas as value.
They're
you know,
valuable.
The things that you think when you take in information, what comes out of you is yours.
Is your intellectual property.
And there, somebody will put a number on it if you don't.
If you don't.
Yeah. How does it feel for us to get to this point?
It feels wonderful. And I love to see you doing it because it's all in you. And I saw it in you. I was just waiting for it to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was waiting for it to come out. And I see it in your brother, and I'm still waiting for it to come out.
You have been probably the most supportive person that I've ever met. And oh shit, let's start. Nope.
Okay.
Don't
start.
Okay. But honestly, like from childhood to being up at the school mom, you know, to supporting all of our dreams and aspirations, supporting us when we're fucking up,
Right.
supporting us when we bring babies home
Right.
and baby mamas home,
Right.
supporting us when we try something and fail, picking us back up. And not just me and my brother, like everybody.
Yeah.
You have been the most supportive person literally that I've ever known.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for that.
Oh, yes.
And I love you so much.
I love you too. Yes. Don't start.
I won't do it. I won't do it.
No waterworks today.
Yes. But that's why I wanted to feature you. That's why I wanted you to be the period on season 1 of Art of the Matter.
All right.
Is because everything that I've done and will continue to do is because of you and because of the sacrifices that you made and our history, our ancestry, our lineage is in us. You know?
That's right. Yeah.
And so being able to just talk to you even right now connect a lot of dots.
Yes.
To certain things that I do that I'm seeing from you that I see, you know, come from us.
All right.
But yeah, I just want to thank you.
Yeah. Well, I believe. Well, that's what, you know. Growing up in the CD is each one teach one, and when you take a step, grab somebody and bring them up, and then all power to the people.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Very strong Black Panthers, you know, in Seattle.
Yeah.
And they took care of the neighborhood. They're Carolyn Downs, a Dessa Brown clinic, you know, and the feeding program, and that's what I grew up around. And so it was a village, and you know, we have to support each other. It was natural for me to come up to the school and fight for you guys, and then look around and see other kids that didn't have nobody and fight for them too. That was just a part of how I was raised. That's the village I was raised in, because that's what we did.
Yeah.
That's what everybody did, you know. That's why I speak out, that's why I challenge, you know. And even this space, the space we're sitting in, you know. Pat said it wouldn't look like this if it wasn't for my mouth.
Yep.
Did he not say that? Yeah.
Several times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This used to be a Black space.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
It wasn't a Black owned space, but it was a Black space.
Yes.
So
yeah.
The Duwamish people laid the foundation, and then the Black people gave it the love. Okay? We came in here and made this business and surrounded the community with love.
Yeah.
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 So we gave it the love and the soul, you know. And if this ground hadn't been blessed, these buildings wouldn't be standing here.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, Art of the Matter season finale. Yes, let's go. That was it, y'all.
Yay.
Wow. Yeah, let's clap it up.
Yay. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I hope everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna probably go over time. But yeah, how do you feel, Mom?
That was beautiful. I
Yeah.
love that. And you got all the parts of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. The pictures were just adorable.
I know that one of you as like the little child with the hands clasped. I'm just like, oh my god. I could
Yeah,
just
the
see
pictures
you.
were wonderful. And the video was good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
loved it. You got all the parts of me.
Good
Yeah.
deal, good deal.
Mhm.
And that's actually it's pretty tough because my mom, like I said, she's literally the most supportive person that I've ever met, and she has a tendency to not self-center. So when I ask her these questions, sometimes she wants to talk about everybody else. I'm like, no, this is about you and your journey and your life. You know,
Yeah.
so it was definitely important for me to be able to highlight you in that way.
Yeah.
Some of the clips that we saw of our family, one really great thing that happened a couple weeks ago is that I
Yes.
actually got to meet your aunt Cora for the
Mhm.
first time in my entire life. I met my mom's sister, who lives in Louisiana, and she came to Seattle for 4th of July weekend, and I got to meet her for the
Yes.
first time, and
Yeah.
like that was a lot because, like you talked about in the episode, like you lost your mom in a very young age, and
Very
so
young
I
age.
never really
Yeah.
had the grandma experience for real.
Yes. Yeah.
So to be able to meet her and like feel her presence and feel her
Mhm.
energy was definitely very affirming.
Yes. And so
Yeah.
you got to see and you got to be around my mom's side of the family,
Yeah.
which you've been around a few, but to meet Aunt Cora was big.
It was big,
Because you got to see,
right?
you know, talking to her and watching her speak.
Mhm.
You got to see a snapshot of where I came from. And she's
Exactly.
just one of the 4 aunties,
Yeah.
you know, that I grew up around, you know, some by blood, most by marriage though.
Mhm, mhm.
Because when, like I said, when my mother and father moved to Seattle, they moved my father's brother up here. Then they moved Aunt Cora
Mhm,
and her husband up here.
mhm.
And so that's what they did back there, you know, in the 60s. You know, each family, one came and established and see if it was okay.
Right.
And then the other family members came afterwards.
Right.
So yeah, most of our families, Louisiana and Texas.
Mhm.
And so yeah,
Yeah.
I was so happy that you and Bakari got to meet, you know,
Yeah.
Aunt Cora, because she's it. Yeah,
That's
she's
it on
it
your
for my
mom's
mother's
side.
side of the family. There's
Yeah.
nobody else left.
Definitely important to
Mhm.
make those connections, and you know, just the generational, you know, connection of like she got to meet Sarai, you know,
Yeah.
and so that's, you know, my brother's daughter. So it's just like seeing those generations in the same place at the same time was like everything for me. So I'm super glad that we were able to make that connection, and
Yeah.
definitely plan on coming down to Louisiana next year sometime soon.
Yeah, we got to go down there now.
Definitely. One of the things that really stood out to me from the conversation that we had with regard to your experience in the corporate world.
Yes.
You know, we talk about Black women in those spaces and how
Mhm.
difficult it can be for women in those spaces. And in thinking about the art of memory and how you sort of personified remembering who you are in those spaces and not
Yes.
losing yourself to
Yes.
those types of energies.
Yeah.
And I know that can be very difficult for us.
It's difficult. It's very difficult because it's so much pressure depending on the and it really doesn't depend on the size of the business. I felt it's just as much pressure in smaller businesses as I did in the big law firms that I worked for.
Right.
But that foundation that I got in the central area and the way I was raised and the way my mother and father were,
Yeah.
I just didn't have it. And it's just my spirit. It's just not, I just don't have that kind of spirit.
Real.
And so, you have to remember self and you have to remember spirit. Spirit's very strong with me,
Mm-hmm.
spirit and energy. So there's a lot of stuff I just wouldn't tolerate.
Mm-hmm.
And, God blessed me to be in spaces to where, you know, I know in some of those spaces it gets very bad for some people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I remember 3 of my jobs, minority women, going in the bathroom and they're just in the bathroom just bawling
Right.
because of the way they were being treated on the job.
Right.
You know, and I've experienced that on 3 different jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they, you know, go in the bathroom, cry for 10 minutes and then wipe their face and put their makeup back on and go back and keep being, you know, bullied and treated bad.
Right.
I just don't have that kind of personality. There's some, I just don't have that.
Yeah.
I'd rather punch somebody in the face and call the lawyer and, deal with all that
Right.
than, be humiliated on the
Real.
job by any human trying to be. I'm a human trying to be too.
Real
And
talk.
I don't believe that anybody's mother was better than mine. So what you came out of wasn't better than what I came out of.
Real
So
talk.
you're at the end of the day, we're all people. We're all humans trying to be.
Right.
And that's always at the forefront with me.
Real.
And I protected myself and protected my spirit because I went through that at a young age. I went through the bullying and the being called the N words. And then when I got, you get to a point to where I'm just not having it. So.
Yeah. Yeah. You can only take so much before, you
I'm just not having it.
You got to make a pivot. One of the other things that we talked about in this episode is, with the art of memory and thinking about, how you spoke about like the women in those positions getting out of that. And I know it can be difficult when you're relying on a steady paycheck to take care of your kids, or, you got a sick parent, or, those types of things. It adds to that pressure.
It adds
so
to
there's
that
pressure in the workspace, and then there's the pressure at
home
to take care of your family and take care of your kids. And I know I'm sure you've noticed the amount of Black women who are starting their own businesses nowadays.
Yeah.
And I think
that was pre-COVID, and it is happening more so after where we're still in COVID, but pre-COVID, Black women had a lot of businesses, and after COVID, Black women had a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
And I would like to see more Tyler Perry type businesses. I want to see us on a large scale. I always knew that we could, even from my Black Arts West days.
Yeah.
I knew that there would be a Tyler Perry. I just didn't know it was going to be Tyler Perry.
Right.
But I knew we could do that.
Right.
We need to be in the space now where everybody's on Tyler Perry level.
Real talk.
Where you have 200 employees.
Right.
We have too many solopreneurs and companies that have 2 or 3 employees. We need 50 and 100.
Yeah.
We need Amazon for Black folks. We need Microsoft for Black folks. We need the huge companies.
Yeah.
So I think that should be our next push.
Real.
Is to get in on the larger scale. It's wonderful that we have these smaller businesses. We solopreneurs. We're really good in restaurant business, which my mother was in.
Right.
And we do really well there. We get 10, 15, 20, sometimes 30 employees. But outside the restaurant business and the barbershop business and the daycare business, I'm very proud of the school, the school on Rainier. I think we need to do more schools.
Yeah.
K through 12 type schools.
Right.
That we find a way to sustain.
Yeah.
Where we support them so they can be sustainable. Because the public schools is a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're
true.
a mess. And we need to recognize that our kids learn differently. We learn differently. A lot of us, especially artsy kids, they just learn differently.
Yeah.
And we need a school system that supports that.
Right.
That supports the whole child.
Right.
And not teaching to a test. So that my dream is that we see more large scale businesses and that we get back into the education, educating our own on a digital scale and brick and mortar.
Real.
Yeah, that's what I would love to see happen more.
Yeah. The each one teach one and the reach back is real with Miss Schelia Ward. That is the name of the game at all times. I know right now, you're working on, you stay working on a big contract for somebody, some federal grant or something like that. She's on that level, you guys.
Yeah.
And I know you've had a few businesses of your own over the years. What are some of your aspirations for the future?
So I want to get back into my art.
Yeah.
I'm going to get back into my art.
Okay.
So I got a little sketchbook, and I got my my little journaling book that I journal when stuff wakes me up. Sometimes things wake me up.
Yes.
2:00 in the morning, and they just jerk me up.
Yep.
And I grab my book and write it down.
Yeah.
So I want to put those so everybody else can see them.
Yeah.
And so I had some that came back a couple of times.
Wow.
And so I know I need to get those out there.
Yeah.
Because usually they come to you and you write them down. And a lot of artists say, if I don't write it down right then, I'll forget it.
Yeah.
But I've had a few of them that has come to me 2 or 3 times. So I know I have to get those out.
Definitely.
So I want to start getting those out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a lean more into my artistic side.
Wow.
But I love working on computers.
Yeah.
I love the digital space, and I
Mhm.
love being the end user.
Right.
You know.
Yep.
I love my Microsofts and my Adobes and all that stuff. I
Yes.
really enjoy it.
Definitely.
But I am going to get back into my art.
Yeah. When you said sketchbook just now, I almost shed a tear. That was just
Yeah.
the most beautiful thing ever.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so great. And I want to thank you again. I'll thank you 1,000 times for just being who you are and showing me and my brother the way.
Yeah. Oh, that was my job.
Yep.
Yeah, I made a choice.
Yep.
As my mother and father, Ray and Mary, you made the choice, and you follow it through. You know, don't do nothing half-assed. Do it all the way.
Real talk.
And I'm very proud of you,
Oh.
and I'm very proud of Converge. I want y'all to be super successful.
Yes.
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 Yeah. And I really enjoyed this. This was so much fun.
Yay. Oh my gosh. Well, man. Well, there you have it, folks. This is it. I cannot believe this is the last time that I will be signing off for Art of the Matter Live, season 1, 13 episodes, so many amazing artists, so many amazing conversations. I want to thank everybody who has been a part of this show on the production side, on the talent side, all the venues that we got to go to and have conversations in. Like, this has really, really been an amazing experience. And I'll say in closing, it's been a journey. And I think one of the things that I'm finding has kind of been a through line with this whole experience of Art of the Matter is really my goal was to help people realize their creativity and remember their creativity, because in the beginning God created, and that is what we are here to do. Everything that you do, it doesn't matter what field of work or profession that you're in, whether it be a painter or a dentist or a construction worker or a garbage man, there's creativity in all of these things. And my hope is that Art of the Matter helps people realize that in themselves. So on that note, I have been TDUB. I want to thank you guys again for joining me on this journey. Look out for season 2. We are coming with a season 2. It is happening. It is going to be bigger and better than ever. Yes, again, I've been TDUB, and as always, stay creative.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.